VRIO, forecasting, benchmarking. Three tools that we use to give us data and information about developing a business strategy for us to pursue to be successful. We look on the aspect of VRIO: value, rarity, imitability, organization. You want to look at the value. What kind of value does a strategy deliver to our organization? What kind of value does it deliver to our customers that give us the money to run our organization? That's probably a more value than anything else. So you want to look at that aspect of it. How rare is this? How rare is our service? How rare is our product? Because the rarer that it is, two things. Number one, can you have access to it? Okay, which is a big deal. If you can have access for a year and disappears after a year, then you'll have a problem in a year. Is that something you want to explore? If it's rare to the consumer and you can have a continuous stream providing it, even on a limited basis, but as long as you're consistent, all of a sudden now you have a valuable aspect over there, a cash cow, so to speak, for the long-term aspect, because of the fact that people want that, are willing to pay for it, maybe even in small quantities or small volumes. Just depends what rare means in your industry. Is it able to be imitated? Can somebody else come along and do a better job of the service or the product that you're developing? Can they imitate you at a lower cost? And all of a sudden now you have to compete and drop your price to match them in the process. Organization. Okay, what kind of organization do you have to pivot all these different things into a solid strategy so your business can survive and thrive, looking at all the different aspects of value, rarity, imitability, and organization. So you use, that's one tool. Another one is forecasting. Forecasting methods. You want to look at the trend analysis. What is sitting out there? Sometimes that something happens outside of your range of forecasting that you never anticipated. You have some type of terrorist activity. You have a virus running through the industry, running through the country, changing everything that you never expected. But overall forecasting, you're going to look at the market. For me, when I go into an organization as a chief business officer, I pay attention to really the very first budget I create. I look at the past 3 years of budgets. I look what caused the different variations in the budget, but then I just simply do a weighted average by the time you're all done looking at the different aspects of it, and then also have the framework to create my budget for my first year. And then I'm going to weigh in different things that I anticipate happening over here. And then also, just so you know, I don't tell the boss this, I create 3 different budgets. I create what I expect to have happen. I create what if bad things happen, so the budget's different over there, and I also build in some different aspects of what I would do if it goes down. And then I also have an optimal budget of the really coolest things. The year went really good, so I do what I'm expecting. I also do a 5 to 10% if we have less revenue. I do a 5 to 10% if we have more revenue, what I would plan on doing. I have different contingencies all lined up for alternative futures as to what it can be. So pay attention to forecasting. It could be something as simple as doing 3-year time analysis averaging. It could be that simple, but pay attention to the different things. This forecasting is about making predictions of future events based on historical data analysis. That really goes a long ways because of the fact you can have some comfort that, well, where'd you get this from? Here? Where'd you get this from? Here? Okay, so therefore you have that aspect of it. A business plan for the future. Your company, if it's existing or if it's a startup, plan. Now, by the way, your plans will not all be implemented and they will not all be fulfilled, and you're going to make some mistakes in it because you cannot predict the future. But you can at least have a thought of what you think the future is going to be and actually respond to that if it's a slightly different aspect of it. And it helps you really your resources to be allocated appropriately and helps you make informed decisions. Types of forecasting, this is really past the scope of this class. If you want to dive into forecasting, Entrepreneurship 212 provides a lot of data there. But let me just briefly touch on the aspects of forecasting. For the most part, you're going to look at 2 different types of forecasting. Put this in your notes. Qualitative, we have a small pool, usually of experts, expert opinion, or quantitative, where you have a large data set of 400 to 1,000 people altogether. You're looking at different aspects. What does this do? What does this do? What does this do? And actually, if you're writing a research paper, usually the qualitative study really draws more interest because you're using a bigger population of probability as to what happened if this happened and what happened if this happened. So you're looking at data. When you use qualitative, you're analyzing the small pool of experts. 7 to 10 experts can actually be enough to fill a good solid research paper, because you're going to be asking them a lot of questions. You're going to be really taking their ideas on a really maximum level for those experts and put in paper. You can develop a good solid research paper using that based upon the expert opinion and the market research for that as well. 2 different methodologies: time series analysis, regression analysis, econometric models. Look at the sales forecast. What do you think the sales will be like based upon the current economic conditions, based upon your past history, based upon if you capture a new customer or if you lose a customer, and demand planning. We also use a thing called benchmarking over here. You can see the different rankings between them, and they all have different aspects of it. Overall ranking, number 9 is American. You can see the number there. So you're looking at American, and when we're talking about benchmarking, you're talking about the aspect. Let me jump over here for a second. See, if you see this mark over here, the metal on the right-hand side, that round disc, that actually is called a benchmark. A benchmark is when you put a transit and you're looking to survey a piece of property. You put the transit down, you hammer in, actually you put a cement core in, and then you put a benchmark and you have a prong going deep into the cement so it stays in that exact same spot. In that spot, you put your transit and you look this way, and then you look this way. You identify exactly where you took your transit and you put that in the different corners of the property, and that way you can define the property from the transit that you do and actually measure exactly where it's at. It's called the benchmark. But we do the same thing with this. Over here, you have American popping up. Look at the lost baggage. It's doing so well with the high score on the lost baggage. It's sitting over there. You better believe the other airline industries, over there, they got a benchmark. We have to match that benchmark. We want to do better because, by golly, look at what happened. They didn't lose as much baggage, but by golly, they're number 1 overall. Baggage must be a big deal to rate your overall valuation. We need to do a better job on our lost baggage. Get busy. Go spy on them. And you better believe the other airlines had spies trying to figure out why American did so good and not losing as much luggage. So out over there, they had spies out there, cloak and dagger, head over their heads, watching them and recording them with a cell phone, seeing what's going on. And they did fabulous in the process. They used American as a benchmark. Now, if you are a benchmark company, keep in mind everybody else is watching you, and you better be on your toes because they're going to try to steal your ideas and use them for their own. That whole aspect of going back VRIO, they're looking at imitability. Can they imitate what you're doing because you are the top dog out there and you want to make certain that you stay on top. So keep on keeping on your best stuff and look for new ways to keep on implementing it. Benchmarking, you compare a company's performance metrics to the industry best or the best practices from other companies. You may want to steal them and grab them for your own. There's different kinds: internal, external, competitive against direct competitors, and then functional as well. Different types of benchmarking. All this is really helpful for you and the process of identify what to benchmark. Now, if you go back on the problem solving, remember, defining the problem is one of the hardest things to do. Identify what to benchmark. Make certain that you identify the problem you want to solve and look at the benchmark for that problem you want to solve. Select the benchmarking partners, collect the data, implement improvements, and then go back and view them again in the process. So different types of corporate strategy. You've got 3 different types, and I want to look at the matrix and diversification quickly over here. So we have a growth strategy where you want to look at growing different aspects of it. Sometimes you want to just be stable in the market. If you're in the electric industry providing power to thousands of customers, you really don't want to have a growth strategy, because your strategy really is based upon the number of residences that live in your thing as well as businesses. So stable. You want to make sure it's stable and you don't have any fires happening. You don't lose power, just no significant change, or defensive where you go back and you're retrenchment trying to save your company. Here's a really good opportunity. It's called the BCG matrix. You look over here in the bottom left corner, you have your cash cows. And whenever you have a cash cow, your company has a moving experience. Yes, I know my jokes are really bad, but that was the cream of the crop by the time you're all done. So with that, no bull on top of that. So a cash cow, that's something you can depend upon and have a constant stream of revenue and profitability from. That cash cow can help finance some of your high growth areas that we call stars. They can also help finance that whole aspect of question marks out over there. It's risky, and if it comes off, it's going to be a giant cash cow, maybe. Okay, and then you have the dogs. I think dogs is a misnomer. I like dogs. We should call these cats, but somehow dogs stuck over here. They have low growth, low market share, and they should be get rid of unless you feed them really good. Okay, and then they can become a cash cow again. So this whole matrix comes in handy when you're overall trying to look on your overall strategy. Diversification strategy is about having multiple buckets of revenue and profitability. Don't put all your eggs in one bucket. You want to make certain that you have the ability to look on the whole aspect of what's out there, and if you can, hit multiple different markets out there with different demographics, and that way you can have a constant stream of profit coming in and growth, and take risk on a couple of them, like those stars and like the whole aspect of going back to those question marks. But you want to sit down and have a good diversification on your company. Value, rarity, imitability, and organization, VRIO, forecasting, making sure you're doing good quality projections, and then on the industry, looking as to what is the benchmark that you want to match yourself to compare yourself and hopefully become in the days to come. They're all solid ways to start lining up your business strategies. Take care.